Hey, how's it going, everybody? Know it's been a while since I did a deck profile, but I'm pretty happy with what I have right now. And this is my new build of the Palpatine leader. We know this leader from set 1 has the ability to defeat one of your units by paying 1 and exhausting them to be able to deal damage to a unit and draw a card. You're able to flip them at 8, take control of a damaged unit, and then on attack, you do the same thing. You can defeat one of your units to deal damage to a unit and draw a card. There's a lot of interesting tricks you could do with this leader, as far as like setting up your flip turn or your deployment turn, or as well as being able to trigger certain effects. And I just like him overall. I think drawing cards is really powerful. So if a leader could do it while doing it in an advantageous way, I see no reason not to play it. We're still on the yellow base, and I'm not upset about it because I got some good tools that we got in set 2 and set 3 to help out with making this deck very, very powerful. One of the new tools is Pago the Lesser. He's a separatist official that when you play another unit, you're able to exhaust them to generate a token. This seems innocuous, but with this leader and with some of the cards we have in the deck, it makes this very, very powerful, so we play it. We are still on Admiral Piet as well. This is more so a curve filler than a turn 1 play, but if you don't see Pago and you got this and everything else set up your curve, then you play him and you just, keep moving with it. 3 copies of Gamorrean Retainers. This is more so to protect Pago. It's a 3/2 Sentinel, so if you're in a situation where you are going first, let's say you were on initiative, so you started with Pago, they played something that could possibly deal with Pago, you'll play this guy out, you trigger Pago, make your token, and now in order for them to swing on you, they have to swing over this, and this is most likely going to kill whatever they played on turn 1, so sometimes it stalls them, and if that's all you kind of do, you're just trying to stall them a little bit. If they then follow up with a turn 3 play, a 3 energy play, then we have an answer for that as well. We have Confederate Courier. One of my favorite new cards for the deck. It replaced the 1/1 that drew you a card. In a sense, this does a lot of that same thing, except for it has a very relevant stat line and being a 2 power card. So that means that it could deal with things like Lurking Tie, as well as Kylo silencers and stuff like that. Generate your token so you get some type of advantage from it. Even if you're going against a green squadron, you could deal 2 damage with this, generate your token, and then use your leader to ping off the last health of the green squadron. So overall, it's a fine card. It does what you want to do. 3 copies of the Emperor's Royal Guard. Again, we know it's just a staple on Palpatine. 3 copies of Super Laser. Again, you need a ramp. New card, we have 3 copies of Elite P-38 Starfighter. A cool card overall because it gives you an additional ping. So that way you can kind of hedge your bets on the turn that you're going to deploy. This is also good against villainous aggro because usually they like to start off with like a Death Star or a Greedo. And you can just play this and ping it off and you don't have to worry about it. This also trades into things larger than itself because on play you could ping, and then on the follow-up you could just swing 3 into whatever it is, and then on death or on defeat also ping as well. Yeah, it's just a solid card. Solid card. TIE Phantom. We already know how powerful this card is. It's a little less game winning than it used to be, but it's still very powerful, and I think you should run it if you're running these colors. Forlam. Forlam is my new ambush of choice. It used to be Escort Skiff, but Forlam always works, while Escort Skiff sometimes give me issues if I didn't start off with a command unit, which sometimes happens. It's very rare, but sometimes that happens. And then one of my favorite new units, Geonosian Patrol Fighter. So this card right here helped me to solve a lot of the issues with the early aggro matchup. Just to go over a line of play if you didn't watch the Gar Saxon video. And I'm going to put up another video of this deck playing with this card in it. Basically, you start out with Poggle if you're at all possible. And then you follow up Poggle with a turn 2 play. If they went ground, you follow it up with Gamorrean Retainers. If they went space, you follow it with Confederate Courier. Sometimes even if they go ground, you follow it up with Courier, because a lot of times they ignore Poggle because they can't just kill him right away. And then you generate your token. And this is like the better lineup is Poggle into Confederate Courier and token. Because then once they make their 3-drop, you could pay 1, defeat the Confederate Courier as well as the token you just made, bounce their 3-drop, and then generate the token off of the Confederate Courier, so you don't actually lose board state while you reset your opponent's turn, right? You basically time walked them. They used all their resources and got nothing from it. And usually that's good enough to buy you like 1 to 2 turns. And again, that's all you're trying to do is bridge turns, trying to just get there. If you happen to have a second one for later on, then it becomes kind of backbreaking. TIE Advance, we combine this, of course, with TIE Phantom. That's a known combo right there. But we also combine it with Emperor's Royal Guard. Sometimes you go turn 2 Royal Guard, turn 3 Advance, and your opponent just can't get over it. And that's usually good enough to, again, get you to where you need to go. In the aggressive matchups, you do want to ramp, but you want to ramp at certain breakpoints. Really want to do is like ramp from 6 to 7 so that you go into 8, or ramp from 7 to 8. Sometimes you even want to ramp from 4 to 5 so that you could go into the next turn to be able to play one of your most powerful plays in the deck. So it all depends on how the matchup is going, where that ramp breakpoint is, but you still need a ramp. Reinforcement Walker, we're on the 3. I debate between 3 and 2, but I'm sticking with the 3 right now. One of the best cards in the game still once you get there. You play it out there, it's a 6/9, it's beefy. On play, you get to look at the top card, you can add it to your hand or send it to the drop and heal 3, and the same thing happens on attack. As you already know, the bonkers play is to have out an Admiral Piet with it, so that when you're playing it later in the game, you just draw or heal, and then you immediately ambush, draw or heal, and you get like 2 cards or a heal 6 life all at once. And again, it's just solid overall card, very sturdy, hard to deal with. Arquentins. So this is one of the reasons why I might, cut a Walker. Arquentins is just so good. So it ambushes, it's a 7/8, it ambushes in space, and when it defeats a unit, you ramp that unit to your resources. So that makes it extremely powerful removal because there's no way for your opponent to get that card back. The other thing that's really cool about this unit is that once you get it out there in space and you did that, your opponent is never going to put a space unit out unless they could deal with him or is bigger than what Arquentins could deal with. So then you have the 7 attack beater in space that you're dealing damage to their base with. Relentless, you need it for your control matchups and your big energy matchups. You need to be able to shut off the removal. You need to be able to shut off the opposing barrages, things of that nature. Devastator, still one of the best top ends. I was also running Finalizer at one point, but it just seemed way to win more. Devastator is kind of where my curve stopped. It comes down, could deal damage up to the number of resources you control, and then of course it has Sentinel and Overwhelm. Again, another target for a great target for Admiral Mati. You just play this out, burn off something, ambush something in space, deal a bunch of damage on Overwhelm, and then sit it out there as a Sentinel. And that's basically the units. Now we're going to get into the events. There's quite a bit of them that are really powerful. So we're starting off with the most bonkers one, Triple Dark Raid. So as I mentioned earlier, you kind of want to go from 4 to 5 with your ramp so that you then go into 6, because your 6 resource play is your Triple Dark Raid. Triple Dark Raid on 6 allows you to play everything in the deck except for Relentless and Devastator. So that means you could go into a Walker on that turn, which is super powerful if you're going into a Walker. because it's a 6/9. You probably healed or drew depending on if you're ahead or you're behind. And then you're able to just take out whatever they had on the board for that turn, or even kill many leaders with it. And then you bounce it back to your hand. This is also a really powerful 3-on-3 resource if you didn't open any Geonosis Patrol Fighters. As I mentioned earlier, we have Poggle. So let's say you are on initiative, right? They made a turn 1 play. If you just have Poggle and nothing else to play, you could go Triple Dark. Triple Dark could possibly get you into the Geonosis Patrol Fighter. Bounce whatever they played on turn 1 and generate your token. And now they have to be careful where they place their next unit. If they were planning on placing the unit in space, then this guy could trade with them. If they decide that the unit they were going to play is on the ground and they just said, no, screw the turn 2 unit, I'll play my turn 3 unit, you're still Gucci because this is going to return to your hand. And then on the next turn, you're going to be able to pay a reduced cost to play this card and bounce what they played that turn. And then it just gets out of hand. Resupply, I sometimes bounce between 2 and 3 of this because you only need to see it once. Your super laser is your more important ramp piece, but you don't want to be in a situation where you see neither one. So we still play it at 3. Still a great card. 3 copies of Barrage. Still, I go back and forth between 2 and 3 copies of this card. All depends on how you look at it. But, you know, the power level of this card is kind of out of the sky, so you kind of want to play it and see it. Waylay. This is for if they try to cheat something into play. There's a very popular card right now called, like, there's 2 of them now or something like that. I forgot what it's called. Basically, it's the other way that you build Cunning decks if it's not going to be Triple Dark. And they'll usually play that card, cheat in a 5-drop, and you just go Waylay. And now you just undid their entire turn. Cunning. So this is a late edition. I have not actually play tested it with this yet, but I have played it in previous builds, and I just think this card is necessary to bridge certain turns, right? Again, your whole goal with this deck is to get to the later game to be able to do things, and sometimes you're like 1 turn away, and a lot of those times when I was 1 turn away, if I just had a Cunning to tap down 2 things and bounce something, that would give me the ability to go into the next turn and then turn the whole game around. So that is the deck right there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the deck profile. I'll catch you again next time. And this is VG Time signing out.